So I was going to go over the events we've had. So starting back from April through the present, because we had the last board meeting in the middle of March. So April, on the 5th of April, we had an article in the Pascal Press, Joan's Joy marks Law's anniversary. So that was on the 24th anniversary of Joan's Law. It was just a little smaller article just to bring up the significance of the Joan's Law. Then we had April 13th, the tulips that the Yazdi family, well, Madonna was here before. These are tulips they had donated. They started blooming, and they bloomed all April. Then the 17th, we had a documentary shoot of Rosemary walking to the killer's house. Then the next day, the 18th, they came and shot us at the cemetery.
I'm back on, John.
Okay. Let me just finish this, then we'll throw it to you.
Thanks.
I'll let you know. So the 18th, the documentary shoot at the cemetery. The 19th was Paula's Law press conference at the Pearl River Library and Joan's anniversary, obviously. Then there were two articles from that. Reichland, Melnick, and Lawler pushed to eliminate parole for child murderers. Those are the new sponsors that my mother is working with, as the bill has been reintroduced. After it was introduced, I guess, in 2018, but a new session has begun with new sponsors. We'll start advocating for that again in January. And then also Tougher Ball.
January, yeah.
January. And also the 20th, Tougher Parole Ban sought for child killers. That was also the Journal News. On April 22nd, Rosemary spoke at a victims' rights event in Nyack. And then it's also the anniversary of Joan being found at the site, which we just saw with Ernie. For 29, we made a $551 donation to Arts and Crafts. That was money raised from the Mardi Gras event Jerry will tell you about in March. On the 29th also, Rosemary had her first appearance on the Lori Young show. That's WOND. It's near Atlantic City. And then on May 8th, Covenant House, we donated $500. On May 14th, we received a $500 donation from Ann Locke from Cherlandala Counseling Services. I believe that's in Park Ridge. 5/15 and 5/16, the document. Wycliffe Lake. 5/15, 5/16, they came back in for the documentary shoot again. They did the house. They did a lot of creative things. And the 16th, they did a very long interview in the downstairs. That's what they're setting up there.
Look at that camera. Look at that camera.
Yeah. 5/22nd, we had the yard sale. That's from the yard sale. That was Saturday. Then we start June. So you were part of a panel, Maesty Gravis. My mother was part of a panel on Lori Young show again, but this was on Maesty Gravis, a health condition she has. On June 4th, we made a donation to Never Alone Again of $500, and also a donation to YCS Davis House of $200, and also to YCS Foundation for $700. That was for their COVID recovery fund. On June 4th, we also got donate flowers from Lepardi's Nursery and Belfiore Nursery for the Butterfly Garden. I believe it was 10 flats of annuals. So on June, then the next day, June 5th, the killer dies in prison. We heard about Ernie's story. And also that day, Rosemary saw a white butterfly at the Celery Farm. That's a nature center. And then we didn't find out about that he died until the 7th. And she did a 10-10 wins interview. And there were other interviews in the day that followed.
I heard that 10-10 win interview that morning.
Oh, right. Yeah, you told us that.
Yeah.
And then on 6/9, Joan's Law killer McGowan dies in prison was in the Journal News. And also, man who murdered 7-year-old Joan D'Alessandro dies in prison was in the record. And also the News 12 interview. On the 10th, the scholarship was given to Delia. Later met her on the 15th. This picture is actually from the 15th. Rosemary receives, on the 11th, she received roses from a supporter. This was our friend Marge from the pet shelter that we used to work with. There were some other gifts that came in. On June 12th, we had the Jones Legacy celebration at the Butterfly Garden. That was about 20, 30 supporters. And Assemblyman Auth came to that. Then we had some more articles. On the 13th, New Jersey man who killed 7-year-old Girl Scout 40 years ago dies in prison. It was on the Fox News website. And that article got 840 comments. On June 13th, man who raped and killed Girl Scout dies in prison was in the New York Post. There was also some Spanish and European websites that I think are related to this media entity who carried the story that day. On the 14th, the Record reporter visited to do an interview and to look at the letters that the killer wrote to a pen pal. 6/14, also another article came out in the Pascack Press about Jones killer dies in prison. And on the 17th, Community Life. So on the 24th, we visited the site and we saw Ernie's work. And they were cleaning this up also because of the documentary shoot that happened later that week. They went over there. We didn't go over there, just the documentary crew. So on June 20th, the letters from D'Alessandro killer revealed he blamed others article came out. There was also an online version that was subscriber only, so it stopped some people from seeing it. But it had video and pictures of the letters and a lot of other pictures.
Then you got to read letters that he wrote?
These were letters that were wrote to a pen pal that were turned over back in 2008, and they were part of the effort to find new evidence.
Wow.
And, they came out now again. We had them, and now we were able to talk about them, and then they were interested to see them. And they like it says in there, he makes himself seem like he was a victim. On the 25th, Detective Kramer, he reached out to us prior to this, but then he came to visit, and he told us the details about Joan's murder. He was the main detective from Hillsdale at the time, and he wanted us to know all they went and did and how they did the case. And he was here for 3 hours.
Now 5 hours. 5.
He was here
on that day. I really found out what happened to Joan. Before that, it wasn't accurate what was told to me.
Yeah. Then on the June 30th, we had the sunflower. It came as a weed and it bloomed. And July 3rd, this is related to Paula's Law, the second killer of Pearl River teen given parole. And that was in the Journal News, and that references.
Did the first one get out of jail?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
And now this guy's gonna?
Yeah, in August.
Yeah.
So that's why I know my mom's
What a shame.
Mom's trying to reach the parole board.
That's amazing.
And we're trying. You called Lois, the mother, the other, when we found out. And the donations that are going out soon be $1,000 to Never Alone Again, and $6,000 to YCS to complete their goal of raising how much did they raise?
80,000.
80,000 for the pet therapy
program.
That's all I had.
That is very, very well done.
Yeah, that was nice, John.